If £30 is your maximum budget for a graphics card, then the HD7770 is definitely worth considering on the second-hand market. But could an Nvidia card in the same price bracket offer you better performance? So it was off to CEX, where I purchased this Nvidia GTX560 Ti for £32. Today we're going to be testing this Fermi-based video card in the usual Skylake system against the HD7770 on the same settings as last week. Check the timestamps in the description box below if there's a popular title you want to skip ahead to. As mentioned on a previous video, the Radeon was able to hit a clock speed of 1150 MHz once overclocked, and the GTX560 Ti was not quite able to hit 1 GHz at 960 MHz. Although what it lacks in speed it makes up for in bandwidth, coming with a 256-bit memory interface, twice that of the HD7770. According to User Benchmark, the 560 Ti offers around a 26% performance boost over the Cape Verde card, even though the Radeon is able to run at faster clock speeds. But enough speculation, let's jump into the results. Up first we have one of the most popular Battle Royale titles, Fortnite, which has run at 900p medium settings with the view distance set to Ultra, so we can spot any potential threats as far away as possible. Here the GTX 560 Ti was able to deliver an impressive 55% increase in average frame rate at 76 FPS, with the 1% and 0.1% lows coming in around 40% faster than Team Red's offering. If you're an avid Fortnite player, it's pretty clear which card will give you the competitive edge. If you're into faster paced action, then CSGO is still a very popular choice even after all these years. Once again we ran at 1080p medium settings, and the performance on the GTX 560 Ti blew the HD7770 out the water, returning an average frame rate 56% higher at 161 FPS, and with a whopping 0.1% low over 220% faster at 106 FPS. Team Green gave a significantly smoother experience. If CSGO is your favourite Twitch-based shooter, then the GTX 560 Ti will serve you well. Overwatch up next, and given the Fermi card's dominance so far, I was rather surprised that there was very little variance between these two cards. At 1080p medium settings, with the scaling set at 100%, both cards were neck and neck in the average and 1% lows, coming in at 78 and 60 respectively, with the Radeon just pipping the 560 Ti in the 0.1% lows with an 8% lead at 55 FPS. During actual gameplay though, I'd be hard pressed to tell any difference. Moving on, we have PUBG, which seems to be playing better than ever on older hardware since some recent updates. At 1080p, very low preset, with the scaling set to 70%, the GTX 560 Ti was once again able to extend its lead, with an average frame rate 20% higher at 67 FPS, with the percentile figures coming in at 38 and 58% faster. With this performance, I decided I would push the scaling to 100%, and here are the results. This time Nvidia's evergreen GTX 560 Ti clocks in an average of 47 FPS, with the 1% and 0.1% figures closely bunched at 32 and 28 FPS respectively. I'll let you decide if higher frame rate or nicer graphics are more important. Surprisingly, Rise of the Tomb Raider actually ran worse on DX12 with the 560 Ti. So was benchmarked in DX11 versus the Radeon on DX12. Although this title was run at the same settings with the low preset at 900p resolution. Here the Nvidia card was just 10% faster with an average of 44 FPS versus the Radeon's 40, with the 1% and 0.1% lows coming in a little higher at 36 and 35 FPS. If I had to choose between the two, I would say the 560 Ti was more responsive during actual gameplay, as displayed by the closer percentile figures. Shadow of War up next, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, this title will run on a 1GB graphics card, but you'll need to select the lowest preset at 720p for playable frame rates. In this environment, the 560 Ti was a good 66% faster when comparing the average frame rate, clocking in at 63 FPS, with the all-important 0.1% lows nearly 60% faster as well. So it's no surprise that this title felt consistently smoother on Nvidia's Fermi-based card. Bethesda's well-optimised title Prey gave a decent showing at 720p medium settings as well, returning us an average frame rate just 7% higher than the HD7770 at 94 FPS. Similar margins were seen in the 1% lows, where the 560 Ti delivered an 8% boost, and the 0.1% lows showed Team Green to come in just over 20% faster at 46 FPS. Upping the resolution to 900p will be pushing either of these cards to their limit, so you'll have to decide if the trade-off is worth it. Here the GTX560 Ti was just 10% faster, delivering an average of 69 FPS, with the 1% and 0.1% lows coming in at 53 and 26 FPS respectively. Given GTA 5's credible performance on the HD 7770 last week, I decided to see if the GTX 560 Ti was able to match or better its performance. So running everything at 1080p high with the textures set to medium and FXAA anti-aliasing will keep VRAM usage just under the 1GB threshold. Here the Nvidia card was able to maintain over a 60 FPS average at 64 frames per second, with the percentile figures coming in at 47 and 44, which are around 15 to 20% faster than the Radeon card was able to muster. Wrapping things up, we have Destiny 2, which if set to 1080p on the low preset still looks pretty good and will only consume around 1GB of video memory. Here the Nvidia card was just 10% faster when comparing the average frame rate at 48 FPS compared to the Radeon's 44. Similar margins were seen in the 1% and 0.1% lows, with the 560 Ti dropping to 39 and 36 FPS compared to the Radeon's 36 and 32 FPS. However, this title is definitely playable with either card, as both were able to stay above 30 FPS in the most intense gunfights, another well optimised game from Blizzard Entertainment. So there you have it guys, if £30 is all you can afford for a graphics card, then either of these will be able to play well optimised titles like Fortnite, Destiny 2, Overwatch and Grand Theft Auto 5. It's pretty clear from the results, if you're just buying one of these cards to play CSGO or PUBG, then the 560 Ti is the smarter choice from a performance perspective. However, after running all these games, it is worth noting that my system on average sucked down an extra 130 to 150 watts under gaming conditions, so if you have a weaker power supply, then the HD 7770 might make the better choice. If you want to run the latest games at 1080p, then my recommendation is you save a little longer and get something for £50 to £60 like the GTX560 I reviewed a few weeks back, as the 1GB frame buffers are definitely holding back their performance at 1080p resolution. I just wanted to say a massive thanks to all of you who have recently subscribed and to all my loyal subscribers who have stayed with me through thick and thin. Your support is greatly appreciated. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.